Hey yo, what's a black sheep? Who's a black sheep? Don't know who I am and when I'm coming, so you sleep. Wasn't in my realm and wasn't in my sphere. Don't know who I am, so listen here. Dress D-R-E-S. Yes, I'm about to start. If it's alright with you, I'll rip this a joint apart. Back, middle to the front, don't front. Want a good time? I'ma give you what you want. Can I hear it? Hey, oh get it, yo. You got a hat? It's for the hoes. The styling is creative. Black sheeps are the natives. Can't get violated or even decepticated. I got brothers in the jungle, cousins on a quest. Their retarded uncles in their parties, may they rest. Yes, which, wait, why, when, how? Mr. Long Dress, Black Sheep Slim now. Know you heard the others. Phone is to the lovers. Then of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think I get with this because this is kind of fat. Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Dope. Now this movie is from 2015 and it stars Shameik Moore. Now before we get into all things Malcolm Adekambi in the golden era of hip-hop, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss as I combine all the juice from the mind. Hey, illa, willa, bring me back, come rewind. Powerful impact, boom, from the cannon. Go back, 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 back. You guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the video, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for and requested this movie. So if you happen to want to ride down the street on your bike with your high top fade while listening to some Rebel Without a Pause, it's not because of me. It's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now, getting into this movie was directed and written by Rick Famuyiwa. I have mentioned him several times at this point on the channel, and if I review Talk to Me, I will have practically did his entire filmography. Of course, he has done films such as The Wood, Brown Sugar, that I have also reviewed. Please go and check them out. But clearly, this man is talented. But in watching this film, I felt like he was kind of getting back to his roots. Starting off his film career with something like The Wood, where we meet a teenager named Mike from North Carolina growing up as a teen and running around with his two friends. And we kind of get that same dynamic here with Malcolm, but here it is so well written and so elevated. I love this movie. Now, unlike Mike, Slim, and Roland, who could very much so be considered popular, Malcolm, Jig, and Diggy are the complete opposite here. Not only are they not popular, but they are considered to be complete outcasts and geeks. Though we are in current day, we idolize every little thing that has to do with 90s hip hop, from the music to the fashions to slang to television. Now, shout out to Pharrell Whitaker, who does the narration for this film and is also the producer of this movie. But according to him and Malcolm, they were bullied and outcast because they were into white. Who could identify and got hit with the stray bullet when that statement was made? I instantly identified with this movie and somebody like Malcolm. Me as that kid who was into what's considered to be white stuff. The indie music I listened to, the alternative rock that I love, the books that I read, the clothes that I wore, the shows that I watched. No friends! Malcolm here and his friends are bullied by a very young Lakeith Stanfield here, just strictly for being who they are. How dare you aspire to share different interests? How dare you try to get good grades? How dare you try to go to college? What do you mean you want to go to Harvard? How dare you have your very own Oreo rock band, the whitest ever? It seems that lately your homeboys try to play me. Stay acting shady, my ego might just make me. Go ahead, make some noise. Oreo could have been a real band. Oreo could have been a legit real band. I still remember every single song that they performed in this movie, and I'm sure this is because the soundtrack is not only popping, but the person over the soundtrack in creating, producing, and writing these songs is Pharrell. It adds so much authenticity to these songs, along with our three leads performing and singing these songs themselves. Me, who was a fan of Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Korn, Incubus, No Doubt, Red Hot Chili Peppers, System of a Down, like I could literally go on. I love what they represent here and what them having their own band really stood for, because how dare Black people try to, rock out. The movie just clicks on all cylinders. I really love the fact that this movie is in the same universe as The Wood. So we have Stacy here, DeAndre Bonds, as the school security guard. You better ask about me. Did you think my sister a hoe? Nah, I think she purty. Like, I love the fact that he is here. It just feels like such a full circle moment. And then you have the 90s soundtrack to life, crescendoing with each scene to perfection, playing in the background. So when we have, hilarious things happening, like, phone check, homie, like, give up them shoes. You know what it is, Malcolm, give up those shoes for the umpteenth time. They, they hit you with that y'all. When I step up in the place, I step correct. Woo-ha, I got you all. It's just so freaking perfect. But outside of, the soundtrack, the music, the movie just being phenomenal as a whole, this movie works so well because of who is in the lead. Now, of course, everybody was great here, from Tony Revolori as Jib, who wants to go to college and get a great job. I was familiar with him already from the Grand Budapest Hotel. And then we have someone like Kiersey Clemons. This was really her first real film role, and I felt like she did an amazing job as Gushy Diggy here, our local, strong, bold, opinionated lesbian. There will be no praying the gay away. And then we get into someone like Shameik Moore, who I felt like bodied this role and carried this entire film. There have been two young actors, as far as I'm concerned, that have just made me kind of sit up and pay attention and look forward to anything that they have coming out. And that's Jarrell Jerome and this young man right here. Shameik Moore's acting to me is just so effortless. Everything that comes off of him feels really natural, really genuine, just downright believable. You would never think that this was his first movie role. He just fit right in being Malcolm. Malcolm is the personification if Steve Urkel, Pharrell Williams, and Tyler the Creator had a baby. That love that he has for the golden age of hip-hop, the need to rock out in a band, being an outcast, all good Pharrell and Tyler the Creator miss. His Nigerian father leaving his mother single, Tyler the Creator down. And then we just get into the factor of him being really brilliant. Going back to watch this movie, I noticed several things that I did not see before. Like, even though Malcolm is clearly brilliant, you have somebody like the school counselor saying, who are you to think that you could actually get into Harvard? We are here, you are from the bottoms, dumb down your admissions essays a little bit. Really dig into those lacking circumstances as to why you should be even admitted to any college, let alone Harvard. Not only do you need to play into the narrative of you being a poor Black kid from the hood who lives with a single parent, but you also probably need the backing from an alumni just to even get your foot in the door. With the interview and maybe a recommendation letter, it will in no way be based off of how you've performed here as a student, and you would never be considered an asset as far as entry for an establishment like Harvard. Now, I also never really paid attention to their surroundings when I first watched this movie. They live in the bottoms. I'm sure it went unnoticed by me because this is more of a comedy, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they are constantly running from something or someone. There is always this consistent, strong presence of danger lurking on every corner, and they have figured out how to maneuver that. I didn't realize until watching this now that the entire 90s aesthetic, you know, the music, the clothes, the hair, the whole high top, that whole thing, this was all to escape and create this sense of happiness and euphoria where there just seems to be none, like everything is lacking. But in our world of, you know, Yo MTV raps, old school clothes, just all of this great things that we love so much, there is happiness. And not to say that this isn't really who they were, especially with Malcolm, but you can really see that someone like Malcolm is consumed with everything that is not based in his current reality, almost like a mask. He talks about it all the time. Even his college essay is based off of Ice Cube's "Today Was a Good Day." But it's like, why would I remain and keep my thoughts in current day of me constantly having to look over my shoulder, worrying about, you know, my mom being a single parent, worrying about finances, even getting into college, somebody degrading me and telling me what I can't have, just solely based off of me being from the bottoms. With the 90s era basically being his safe space, we really grow with him as a character throughout the movie and see him transition from Malcolm who loves everything 90s to, you know, we get to the very ending of him ridding himself of his high top fade and kind of elevating into who he is as a person, even without all of that nostalgia. But until then, we are in the hood and guns are ablazing. I sip the Dom P, watching Gandhi till I'm charged and writing in my book of rhymes all the words past the margin. To hold the mic, I'm throbbing, mechanical movement, understandable smooth shit. The murder was smooth with the thief's theme. Hey, it was never just about 90s nostalgia and the love that Malcolm had for it. It was also about peace and the sanctuary that it brought him. Now, one of the more amazing things to me about going back to rewatch this movie is actually Dom's character. Like, he plays a really significant part in the movie, and I wasn't paying attention to that first because I was laughing because this movie is hilarious, but I was like, damn, this was so smart. Like, I was a little upset to see the box office profit. Yes, it did make its money back, and it did perform, but it performed really low, and this is a really good movie. When we get into Dom and Zoë Kravitz here as Nakia, you know, your local neighborhood baddie trying to, you know, get herself together and go back to get that GED, who recognizes Malcolm right away for who he is. Even though he may appear to be awkward, shy, and weak, he is brilliant, he's bold, he's determined, he's cute. There is so much potential here. He is different from everybody else. Take it hella long trick, give it to me now. Make that thing pop like a semi or a 9. Ooh, baby, like it raw with the shimmy, shimmy, yeah, huh? Dom is here as A$AP Rocky, playing A$AP Rocky. I looked at his credits hoping to see that A$AP had been in some other films where he wasn't really playing himself. I did see his credit for Monster, which I remember reviewing some time back, but he was essentially still playing himself. But Dom is here as your local tough drug dealer in the neighborhood who is, you know, that dude, but he shows Malcolm the utmost of respect. Unlike everybody else who bullies Malcolm and feels like he is weird right along with his friends, Dom has an appreciation for just how smart he is and also his love for, you know, nostalgic hip hop. And it was all because Dom used to be or had the potential to go far and be just like a Malcolm. When Malcolm goes over to invite Nakia to Dom's birthday party, that whole line of saying, you know, Dom was a lot cooler when he was Dominic, and you get into that sense of him going through a transformation and changing into the character that we see now. Both Dom and Nakia gravitate towards Malcolm because they see something that they once were or something that they now currently want to aspire to be. Malcolm is on his way up and out. Now, the day before for our college interviews, we have Malcolm and his friend's life changed forever. We are invited to Dom's party, and we solely see this as an opportunity to get closer to our neighborhood crush, who we have already made a promise to have her study for her GED, but also have the time of my life with my two friends when we have been outcast since forever. But in the midst of even trying to get into the club, into the birthday party, we have Dom come out trying to flex and be Dom, and he speaks of a slippery slope, which is just so important to the movie, because another person who he has been heavily influenced by and has probably gotten him into the predicament that he is in, to where he isn't trying to, maybe go to school, better himself, use his brilliance for something good like a Malcolm, but be taking under the wing of somebody in the boys club like Jacoby, who has not only heavily influenced Dom, but has taken advantage of him due to him being from the bottoms and feeling like he did not have any opportunities. The same thing that they are trying to currently do to Malcolm and him wanting to go to Harvard. Y'all, it was smart, it was deep. But by the time, we having a good time and we get into Rag City A, 10, 20s, and them 50s, be like, Tyga was there for 5 seconds. By the time we throwing hundreds, he was shot. Malcolm, courtesy of Dom, ends up with a backpack full of drugs, a phone, and a gun, or should we say, lunch. Now, before I forget, Kimberly Elise is here as Malcolm's mother. She has a very understated role. She is underutilized here. If you blink, you might miss her, but I will give credit where credit is due in this movie. We do have a lot of cameos here, people who were really relevant at the time that this movie came out. But regardless of that, I really appreciated the fact that every single person here, whether they were a rapper or not, who had a cameo, they actually had dialogue and played a significant role, even if it was just really, really minute. Because stuff like House Party, like the remake of House Party, was sending me with all of the irrelevant cameos that were just there because. Like Kate G in this movie as that fine little dealer who had the fake and real handbag and told Malcolm, hit me if you want a piece of this black market. Serve a purpose if you are going to be a cameo. Don't just be having dry cameos just to have them. Uncle Jerome, aka Iman Joseph from freaking Snowfall, was the perfect person to play the voice. He is just the voice here. He doesn't actually have a name, but he is considered to be the op who dropped the dime just to get these drugs for himself. Yo, if this ain't a nigga named Malcolm with my lunch, click, click, boom, boom, nigga. Yes, I'm a nigga named Malcolm. Like, it got cheese on it. Yeah, it got cheese on it. Like, I just love his whole aura and his energy and the tone of his voice. It was perfection. Just enough terror to scare the mess out of somebody like Malcolm. But getting the package to somebody like AJ means us getting all the way to the white, suburban, privileged teens that are Jaleel and Lily. Now, we're not even going to breeze past the fact that Diggy and Jib were riders. I mean, real friends. They never left Malcolm alone, even when, there were high stakes. Because child, Malcolm would have made it, because Jaleel instantly gravitates towards Malcolm and tries to be down. He's trying to be cool, boo, fool, quit your mafia. Like, he wants so badly to be a part of the bottoms when somebody like Diggy, Malcolm, and Jib want to be the furthest away from it. You guys are rich, you are privileged, no cares in the world, have the world at your fingertips, yet you have a gun. You're talking about repping your set. You want so badly to attach yourself to the bottoms that your father has worked hard to get you guys furthest away from. And then you have Lily, who has clearly leaned more into trying to escape. She is pretty much nude from the moment that we instantly meet her. May I take off my clothes, little boy from the hood? Like, she is promiscuous and she is trying to use her feminine wiles to not only eventually have sex with Malcolm, but to get to the drugs that she knows are on him. And when she throws up on Malcolm, oh my goodness, it is so disgusting. But in spite of that, they were playing Freak on a Leash by Korn in the background. Rick slaps. I gotta pee. How am I supposed to eat my pound cake? I'm minding my business with my pound cake. Then this little naked hoe come peeing in the bushes. Like, this instantly snaps Malcolm back into reality and realizes that, what am I doing? I need to make it to my interviews. I love the aspect of them showing how technology can be used. Like, we are following your every single step on this iPhone, and according to this iPhone, you guys are in this fat burger and I want my lunch. Like, even down to the way that Malcolm decides to sell the drugs later on and getting into Bitcoin in the black market. Like, we don't necessarily have to be standing out on street corners anymore. Like, they was dropping science here, giving you all the good game. Come on now. Really ahead of the curve. But when we get into goddamn Jaleel Quincy, I want my lunch. Like, we gonna order our food and then you can order your lunch, whatever the hell is. Like, that makes me die laughing every single time. Or even at the point, of us trying to be hard and pull out our gun. I love how everybody in the restaurant had a gun. We accidentally shot ourselves. Stop trying to be something you ain't. Don't be a sucker, nigga. I can't even say nigga no more. Sucker, nigga. I know the suckers in the front is the one that's fun. Sucker, hey, sucker. Ugh, YouTube ruins everything. Now, in the biggest coincidence of all, AJ just happens to not only be the father to Jaleel and Lily, also the leader of the drug ring of the boys club, and the person that Malcolm is supposed to do his college interview with. Portrayed here by Roger Smith, bring on the smugness. Like, here being anal, pretentious, and smug per usual, and he does a magnificent job at it. I love him as an actor. Now, AJ just pretty much tells Malcolm, I don't want to hear none of that. You have the drugs in tow now. You are responsible for distributing them. I don't care how you get them or what you feel like the consequences are, or if you have never been a dealer. I want my money. I want it now. And if I don't get it, I am threatening you, your friends, and your family, plain and simple. And we have this heavy dilemma out of nowhere sitting on Malcolm's shoulders. You can see that he is trying to handle Malcolm in the sense of how he may have handled somebody like Dom before. And we hear, words such as slippery slope, the same behavior that we saw from Dom earlier in the movie. He has clearly learned all of these things from somebody like AJ. But what is that, Velvet? You got the wrong one, because Malcolm is smarter than the average bear. Because with the help of Bitcoin, the dark web, our two friends who never left my side, and even an extra white friend who's clearly genius all on his own but has been afforded so many advantages that we would just rather be a slacker and give minimum effort all the time. Unless the conversation is pertaining to why can't I say the N-word, we have all the energy in the world for that. But not only are we going about this the smart way, but Malcolm, I'm going to use who I am and my presence as a person to my benefit. I am inconspicuous. Who is going to look and search for anything on the likes of me? But I just love the entire aspects of this portion of the film, with Malcolm using everything that would be considered a weakness as far as he is concerned as a person, and he uses it as an advantage to really make this business work without them losing their lives or going to jail. But even though this is highly successful, the stakes are really high and things are really slow, even if the Lily is viral. What exactly am I looking at here? I am looking at being in somebody's pocket like AJ for the rest of my life if I distribute all of these drugs for the sake of his reputation, his threats, and because he told me to. This is not who I am, and this is not going to lead to anything positive for my future. Malcolm is so stressed out to the point that he runs off poor little Nakia. She's just trying to, hit the books for her GED. But in all fairness, Kia found something that she had in common with Malcolm, because she wanted so badly to escape her surroundings, and she was just as tired as he was. But we also see that Malcolm feels like, I am on a slippery slope. I am one gun away, one bag of Lily away, one cell away from ending up like Dom. What we could sell, we transferred it over into Bitcoin, and the other that we sold on the black market and we made completely untraceable, we attached it directly to his account. Brilliant. So not only can you not come after me with that slippery slope-ish, if you decide to do something, you are practically ratting on yourself, because like it or not, we are both black and we are both from the bottoms. I just love that whole conversation they have, the whole scenario with your bag. You know, Malcolm, you left your bag. I don't need it. It's fake. Like, it was so good, and it was just so smart, and it just shows just how much more elevated and determined Malcolm is. This entire scenario has made him such a stronger person and has changed him for the better. Even when we have the previous scene of him making the transaction to the black market, and we have Lakeith roll up with the phone check, homie, come up off those shoes. Ooh, it's a bag of money. I love that he looks in the bag and he doesn't say anything to his crew, and he sees someone like the likes of Malcolm pull out a gun. He is changed. This is not, the Malcolm that I was taking the shoes from, who I was bullying in the hallway. For Malcolm to pull a gun, that means that the scenario in the case of which, he needs this money is very severe. I don't want your weak ass bag, cuz I don't want none of these problems. And even though, we are from the bottoms and, we hard phone check homie walking around with our full cool colors on, I don't want to get shot, because clearly Lakeith's character was not packing and was not about that life. We are still kids at heart. I'm just trying to roll up and steal a couple of shoes. I am not trying to lose my life or have you lose yours. Take the bag, and you see him, have respect for Malcolm and his friends moving forward in the film. But just to see that happen and to see Malcolm really step up and become, his own self and use AJ's logic of, being from the bottoms, being this and that, pretty much against him, to just say we are cut from the same cloth and you better, make sure I get into Harvard, because if not, I'm rolling up. Like, I just love that energy for him. It is just so good, and it makes this film so worthwhile. Now, of course, we end off the film with Malcolm coming into his own. I love the whole aspect of his transition, his confidence, cutting off the high top, feeling, no need to hide behind anything or just strictly base himself in 90s nostalgia. And we could just see who he is about to become. We get that good old respect from Dom. I love the essay that he turns in from Harvard, where we get the depiction of, student A and student B, which could be, him and Dom in comparison, or we merge the two and we go on the journey of what Malcolm was before and what he became to, try to sell, and who he really is. And there's just so many different perspectives to look at who he is or what he is considered to be based on where he comes from. I could easily be a Malcolm, or I could easily end up like a Dom. It's all about perspective, and it is a slippery slope. Even though we don't have no date for the prom, she could have showed her she could have went to the prom. Girl, I helped you get your GED. Come on down to the prom. But he does have a date for Six Flags, and she lets him know in that moment that I've always seen you for who you were. You may have all these other people fooled, but this Malcolm that I'm seeing now, I always knew that he was here. And then we end up with the maybe aspect of him maybe getting into Harvard. He definitely got into Harvard, and we love him forward. And then my favorite, we end off with Shameik Moore doing all them good 90s dances to oh, do me baby, ow. Who remembers pop-up video on VH1? Like, oh, that used to be so good. This is a great movie, and it's a good time to go back and rewatch. Like, we don't get a lot of good movies now that have rewatch value. Dope is definitely dope. Well, you guys, that was my review for Dope. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and tell me if you did. Have you seen this movie? Is this one of your faves? I love this movie. I have watched this movie several times, and it never gets old. But I look forward to reading your comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell me your favorite moment from this review. I will be reading them. I will be loving them. I see you guys next time for my next review. Bye.